Well, hello and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the New Construction Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Anya Christianthan, and I'm really excited to have my guest for today. His name is Vahid Farzaneh. So Vahid is the CEO of Freestyle Creative, which is a marketing company. And he's also a partner at Home Creations, which is a building company. So he combines the best of both worlds. So Vahid, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to have you on.
I am as well. Thank you so much.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to kick things off by giving our listeners a little bit of a backstory and who you are. So tell us kind of a bit about both sides of your business and the history of your companies.
Absolutely. So I started Freestyle back in 2007, marketing advertising agency here in Oklahoma City. And then Home Creations is our family business that my dad started about 36 years ago or so. So it's been a while, but I grew up working in the family business. I was superintendent for a while, managing construction of about 30 homes at the peak of when I did that throughout college in the summers. And then marketing, I worked sales. I really enjoyed the sales part because I'm more of a people person. So going out there, meeting people and helping them find what they're looking for. For me, sales wasn't so much of a sales process. It was so much about getting to know people and then help guiding them through what it is the right fit for them, the product that we have. So did sales there and just in the family business.
That's what makes a good salesperson, is just somebody who's curious and wants to help people.
Exactly. No, that's true. When you say that, it's exactly what it is. You're curious about getting to know people, who they are, what do you have in common with them, and then you go from there and you just build the relationship, and it's a fun process. Like if you like that, for you the process is just pure fun. So it's like I just love meeting people. So I like to meet new people. I remember whenever I met you, I was like, you were speaking, so I came up to you after you were speaking. I was like, I get to meet new people, so it's really fun.
Yes. So you kind of have a perfect background of the home builder and the marketer at the same time.
Yes.
Which I think is really rare because so many home builders are, great at what they do at home building, but not so much the marketing part. And I think now more so than ever, they're starting to realize how important the marketing part is and how important it is to help people visualize the process, the homes, especially during this whole COVID-19 lockdown. Virtual tours, videos are becoming more and more prominent. So I know with your background, didn't you go to school for filmmaking?
I did. So yes, I graduated 2007 from OU with a background in film and media studies. So filmmaking was my degree. So video is an area that I've really always enjoyed. So it's been awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So, and as you know, like video is my passion as well. I think that's something that I've talked about for so long. And I'm happy to see that people are starting to finally embrace the idea of video, maybe not voluntarily per se, but like kind of like necessity now is, to connect with their customers. But I am happy to see that this shift is happening. So I thought today, what better topic for us to discuss than video, given your background and given the current circumstances. So I thought, let's talk a little bit about why video, how we can use video to connect with our clients. And then I would love to talk about some of the best practices with video, because so many people feel that they're not good on video or they don't want to be on camera, and some of the tips and tricks that we can help them to overcome those. And so really, let's get started by talking. Obvious thing is that other than face-to-face, video is the best way to connect with customers.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
absolutely.
Because you can see somebody on video, you can read their face expressions, you can see, you can hear their voice, but you can also read so much more into it than like just a voicemail or say text message, where you're communicating with all of your senses pretty much. So
absolutely.
So obviously you love video as well. So let's talk a little bit about some of the ways that we can use video to help us connect with our customers. So first I wanted to talk about professional video versus DIY.
Yes.
Where do we use professional versus DIY? Like, where is that appropriate? So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I've seen it used in so many different ways. So for professional videos, you can do a branding video about your business, anywhere from getting actors and set. And I mean, you can go all out, but with some of the ones that we've done for home creation, we get professional actors to help communicate the message. And we add some comical elements to make it more memorable and funny. So there's that entertainment factor. Obviously, there's pre-production, production, post-production. There's a budget required for a hire, like an agency or video production company to come out and do the video, versus the one you do yourself, where it's maybe your selfie camera, you turn on the camera on your phone. The audio may not sound as good as a professional, but you always want to do your best to make sure audio's good, the lighting's good. But with do it yourself, it's more real, raw. It's you talking about maybe the house that you're showing, your customers, or just giving a quick tip. It's real. Whereas a more professional might be a lot more planned out to
Right. So
have a more emotional. Yeah.
So you mentioned that with the professional videos, you do use some actors.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
find that most home builders are resisting to go on videos? Because I would think when you're building a brand,
Depends on who it is. Yeah.
when you're trying to get the message of who we are as a builder, like I would love to see the builder on camera.
Absolutely, yes. So a lot of times we want to get the builder on camera. Not everybody feels comfortable in front of the camera because it's like, but wait, this is going to be there forever, and they don't want to see themselves, or so there's always that. But if you can get the builder, a professional, or maybe one of your sales managers, or someone who's really feels comfortable in front of the camera, knows what they're talking about, that'll be great. If not, you can always cast and bring talent. And with some of the stuff that we've casted, we bring in talent to, the talent was the buyer. So we wanted them to talk about the buying experience. It was more of a dream of, they've already moved into the house and they hadn't moved in yet. So it was a very fun sequence. So you can have fun with it. There's so many different things you can do.
So when it comes to branding videos, I guess some of the ideas that the builders can utilize would be like almost like a bio video about the builder, right? Because we know nobody likes to read that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh, yes,
But if you
absolutely.
turn it into a story, especially if you mentioned earlier emotion, if you can
Emotion
turn
is
it
very
into an
important.
emotional story as to why they're so passionate about building homes for people, I mean, that gives you such connection to that builder watching them, right? You obviously mentioned testimonials for clients. Like a lot of people are afraid of the process of home building, that it's going to be difficult, that it's going to be long, that they're going to be postponed, and all those things that go through their minds. So testimonials is one of the best ways to overcome those objections, right? So that's a great way to when it comes to brand building. Now, one of the things that I see that a lot of builders make a mistake with is, okay, they'll spend the money on the big production, they'll shoot the video, and they'll post it on their YouTube channel, maybe their website, and that's it. So
Yeah.
and then it's like it's not really getting any views, or no eyeballs on it. And then of course they're like, well, I'm not seeing the return on investment on this, because there's so many other ways that you can use video. So can you talk to us a little bit about social media and ads, and how you guys use that and use video in your ads to get more eyeballs and to really create those funnels? Because I know there's a whole lot of ways that you can really target that customer journey.
Oh, yeah,
So I would love to get your take on that.
absolutely. So social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or another social media platform, but those two specifically, there's video is very dominant there in that area. So a lot of the consumers go on there to consume the data, the videos. And if you, like, selfie videos are accepted vlogs are all accepted on social media platforms because they're real, they're raw. And you said, we were mentioning testimonial videos. That's a great way to get people to know about your brand, and they can share it. Social media is one of the best parts of social media is people can share it. They can become your brand ambassadors. What if you even had a past customer, past client that sees the videos, like, you know what, that was great, or it might be one of their videos and they'll share it. So you can share it amongst everyone on the platform. So it's highly effective. And the runtime doesn't even have to be, here's another thing with the runtime. There's research showing that 2 minutes or less is probably the most effective. I personally like a minute or less, which is, I'm not your average person probably, but like, don't try to make it too long for the social media snippets, but you can always have a longer form to where people can funnel in and see the final version as well. So it works pretty well. I mean, social media is amazing. You can, gosh, there's so much you can do with it, especially when one of the things I really personally enjoy, and I don't know how effective this specific is, when you have a closing, and you take a picture of your customer that just bought the house and they're excited and happy. Like, people really like that. And I personally like that myself, because being part of the home building site, it's like, you want to see these happy customers, and there they are, like, yes, they bought a house, they're excited. This is who really needs homes, and here's who the customer is. So it's really fun to be able to see that.
And I think people are always interested in seeing people like them.
Yes.
So
absolutely. Emotional
when you're
connection.
thinking about like picking who to cast in those videos, like I think that's important to think like, okay, who's my ideal customer? And if I have a closing with that ideal customer, why not ask them to be on video? And most people are happy to help you, right? Most people will say yes to you when you ask them. They'll be flattered to,
Oh, absolutely.
So I think that's really important. And so you mentioned a couple of really important points. So I think short, sweet, and to the point. So you mentioned 2 minutes or less. I think it's okay to leave them wanting more rather than go overboard.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Right? So that they do want to find out, for more information, go to blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I actually want to click there now. What about using subtitles?
Oh, yes. So subtitles. So something like 80% of Facebook users or more actually watch the videos without audio. So you either have to communicate the message with that in mind, knowing that, well, they're not going to have, a lot of people are not going to have audio, or you can add the subtitles, which is a fantastic way to communicate that message to it. So yes. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. That's very important.
Yeah, because most people are reading, right? And who's sitting around with their headphones in, which some people do, but most of us are not, and most of us are watching Netflix,
right. Even whenever I'm watching, even when people are watching Netflix or something, a lot of times they're actually on their phone pulling up something else as well. So people are always using multiple sources for consuming data. So it's great.
Yeah, so short, sweet, and to the point. And then, so obviously with the professional video, you'd want to work with a professional who's going to help you feel comfortable on camera. And, as far as brand building, I think that's where it fits in, right? When people first experience your brand, and especially if you're going to put that on your website, it does pay to have a professional video of the builder story, some of those client testimonials. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, no, absolutely. Videos for websites, gosh, I saw a study that, if I can see if I can pull the number, I wrote it down earlier, but the conversion rate for having a video on your landing page, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so videos increase landing page conversions by more than 80%. That was a research that shows that's so the videos are highly effective, and people consume that data and comprehend it a lot more, and they remember it. There was a research that showed 95% more comprehension than reading a blog. You might read a blog, okay, or reading text, versus if there's a video message.
Who reads blogs anymore?
Yeah, right.
I feel like I love blogging for the idea of SEO. Because Google reads blogs, but that's about the only person who reads blogs, right? It's Google. So we want to make sure we have blogs out there, but if you can take that blog and turn it into a video for your customer, they're much more likely to watch that video. And I heard a study that said that human brain can process video up to 60,000 times faster than reading text. So think about that. So that's huge. Okay, so let's talk about DIY, because most of our listeners are going to be sales reps sitting either in a model home without customers coming in now with the quarantine, or
Yes,
they may be
that's true.
quarantined at home themselves,
Right.
still trying to sell homes from their house. And obviously, video is going to be one of the best ways you can connect with your customers by sending a video of yourself. So let's talk kind of like the best practices, some of the equipment, as well as how to feel more comfortable on video. So you mentioned earlier that the sound is really
Sounds
important.
important. The lighting is important. There's some kits that you can attach to your phone to where there's a light in front of it, just so it doesn't look bad. Audio is very important. So wherever you're at, make sure it's not too noisy. And I know sometimes showing a house, like if you're walking a house, it might have echo if it's got like concrete or tiles, but try to do your best to making it as clear and clean as possible. Like I use my headphones, and I test it before I get on this call, but these headphones actually help remove surrounding noise. So that could be a potentially good investment to make it much clearer for people to hear. But yes, absolutely. When people are used to seeing other people. Now, if you're going to just call them, they want to see your face. So you can do a FaceTime call. Then you can give a little tour of the actual space. And furthermore, you can film it once, show everything, talk about it, and then post it online and have people get a little tour. And now the social media is doing the work for you. Your social media is giving the tour of the house. So that's something you can do once and scale.
Yes, I love that idea. So, and you guys, sound is so important. Like if you think about when you go on YouTube sometimes and you're scrolling through like DIY video, usually it's like you need to learn how to, I don't know, change a dryer, some parts in your dryer or something crazy,
Yes,
right? So that's when you usually go to on YouTube to search. And you have a bunch of video options come up, and when you click on that video and it's got really bad sound, like you can barely hear the person on, it's like,
right.
ugh, that's a deal breaker right
That's
there.
it's kind of makes people not want to, like, oh, I don't like this brand. Like you might give a negative emotion attached to that brand or that home builder or that real estate. You definitely want to make sure you're polished as much as possible.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily, so not even necessarily polished, but just the sound that is good,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
Because,
definitely. Yes.
yeah, you want to hear that sound.
Yeah.
So you don't want to annoy people and turn them off.
Oh, yeah.
So because you will have literally 3 seconds to capture somebody's attention. So make sure the sound is great. So you guys, actually what I'll do is I link to the show notes, the mic and a light that you can use at your desk. So I do use here, actually, let me turn my thing around. Can you see? I have my my ring light. You don't need anything so fancy as a ring light, but and obviously I have my big mic for podcasting, which again, you don't need that. So I also have like this little lavalier mic, which I will link to this podcast so you guys can see what that looks like. And I also have like a little light that I usually travel to all my conferences so that I can do a quick video with somebody. It doesn't take a whole lot of space and you can easily clip it to your desk when you're doing something like that. Because if you think about like when you're sending something off to your customer, they're gonna connect so much more to you, and they're gonna be willing to do what you're asking them to do because they see the human being on the other side. They see a person through that video. So yeah, so make sure you have good lights and sound better. Sound first, then the lights. Obviously,
I agree. That mic is a good one. That's a good call
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
So I'll definitely include link to equipment that I recommend, and you guys can check it out. And then all the equipment, me, I'm always trying to stay as budget friendly as possible. So it's all going to be very minimal expense. Okay, so let's talk about somebody who says, well, I like the idea of video. Like I get video is important, but I'm really not comfortable being on video or going on video. So what do you say to that? And how can we overcome that fear?
Yeah, I mean, practice sometimes helps people, like to do it a couple times, and once you've gone through the emotion, you feel more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things are trying to say, hey, we're gonna run through it, but we're not gonna record. So that mentality of like we're not recording sometimes gets people comfortable, but you can still record and like, hey, let's let's go through this a couple times. But then they feel comfortable. After, what we typically do is if we have just if it's making it conversational, it's easy for people to, because that's normal. People have conversations, so just making it conversational would be good. Are you talking about on camera with the DOI or just in general for being interviewed?
Well, I think so. Say if you're shooting that video to send out to your client and you just
Hmm.
have your cell phone video, um, most people I think almost freeze up.
Oh yeah.
So how do you move past that? I guess like what,
Yeah,
do
just
you have
practice.
tip? Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
just
practice makes
practice for
perfect for
sure.
sure. And then one tip I find helpful for me is, when you stare at that lens, it's just like you go blank. So instead of thinking of that lens as a camera lens, I think of my person, like who's that I'm speaking to, and I picture them. And I've also heard somebody say that if you have a picture like of your family or like somebody who makes you smile, makes you happy,
Think about
if
them.
you
Yeah,
have that
a
next to
picture.
your desk and you look at that first before you record, then it's going to put you in like a really
Positive.
positive state of mind. So then when you do record, you come off more natural, relaxed. And yeah, the more you practice, it's like riding a bicycle, right?
Right. The more
The
you
more you do
practice,
it, the
and those
better.
are great tips in general for like having a picture of a loved one. That just puts you in a good positive vibe, and you're able to go. And yeah, looking at a camera on your phone is a little tricky sometimes, and just getting used to it, really. But thinking about your person, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Um, and then what about like, should you over exaggerate your emotion, like, smiling and things like that?
Oh, I'm over, my facial expressions are animated naturally anyways, but I'm always like excited about doing something. So definitely coming, like allowing the emotion to come through so people can feel what you're going through. That's a fantastic way to connect with your audience and make you more human, and people connect with human emotions. So it's a part of the communication.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something in your brain, it's called mirror neurons. It's the
Hmm.
same thing that like if you see a baby giggling, that's why you can't like look away, right? You like it makes you smile.
It
So
does.
that's the same thing. So if you're smiling on camera and you send that off to your client, they're going to experience the same emotion as you're experiencing. And that's going to put them in a positive state of mind. And they're going to be much more likely to say yes to you for whatever you're asking them to do. So,
Hmm.
and that's actually a really good point. Make sure that just like any form of follow up or any form of communication, you absolutely have to have a call to action. So don't just make a video for sake of making video. Like uh, think through it at first and think like, what's the point of my video? Like, what's the final outcome that I want to accomplish? And you want to go for that ask in a video, right? That's how you want to
Oh yeah.
tie it up.
Tie it up.
So
Yep. Call
when
to
you're going
action.
for that ask, I think people are much more likely to say yes to you if you are smiling and bringing that positive energy to it. And it goes back to like, how even when you're making phone calls, they say smile because people can hear your smile. Well,
Yeah, that
guess
is
what?
so true. That is so true.
Right? So guess what? Like on video, they can actually see you
I
smile.
can see the smile.
And
Yeah.
it's weird because it's true. When you look at yourself on camera, if you're not smiling, you're almost coming off like,
Too
really
serious or upset. Maybe he's why is
serious
he
or like
upset?
not as attractive. Like I think when you're
Yeah.
just smiling, naturally you're gonna come off looking better. So like I know it can be such a weird thing to smile on camera, right? Because like it's, I don't know, it's awkward, but just try to smile when you speak, and you'll see that you look so much better. And I think that's the key. Like the more you look better on camera, the more you're going to be like, okay, I'm fine. I'm comfortable getting that out then. Right. That's the
Oh yeah.
whole thing. So let's talk a little bit about how can we make ourselves feel more comfortable on camera. So, more so ladies than gentlemen, but gentlemen too. Hair, makeup, like how fancy do we need to get? Like, so what's your take on that?
So for me, a lot of like what I'm wearing or how I feel, like if I've, because a lot of it's about the confidence. Like when you dress nice, if you're in a suit, for me, like a blazer, it just makes you feel more confident and comfortable. So that's all usually my go-to. I don't have one right now. Actually, I thought about wearing one, but I'm like, I'm at home. I thought would it be awkward if I wore
This is
a
a
blazer?
casual
But
show. Come on.
it's a
I'm
casual
about
show,
to I'm about to have a baby. So, this is like I'm in my like jammy bottoms right now. So it's all good.
That's funny. But yeah, I think definitely dressing up nice and um for me that's the biggest one. I sometimes we joke about it and like I'm wearing my battle armor. So when you put the blazer on, I just feel like, okay, I completely shifted modes. I have a blazer on, my profession. This is like we're gonna go talk to people and it's gonna be fun. Like it puts me in that mode, that mindset. So for me, it's the blazer. That's like my trick. It's the blazer. So for ladies, I'm
That's
sure there's a
like
lot more other stuff. But
it's like a superhero putting on their cape,
yeah, exactly.
right?
It's like I put on my cape and I'm like, here we go. Gives me superpowers. I convince myself. So yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
sure like women, I there's a lot of different other. I mean, I'm curious to hear like what your take is on
Yeah.
that as well.
I mean, I think obviously it's really important to dress for the occasion. So if you know you're gonna be on camera, wear something that you're gonna feel comfortable and confident in. I'd say solids are always best on camera. Try to stay
And
away
don't ever
from
put
any kind of
logos. Yeah, try not to. Yeah.
patterns, prints, stripes, just because it can come off a little weird. And then obviously, as far as like be cognizant of like this is going to be on camera, so like is your cleavage showing a little bit too much, or like is it appropriate shirt? So just be cognizant of that, I think, overall. And then as far as like makeup, hair goes, like so behind the scenes thing, like so today I have literally back to back appointments all day long, and it's all via Zoom. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna put extra effort into like actually showering today, doing my hair and putting makeup on, where normally maybe I won't, especially in quarantine. I'm not gonna do my makeup, but I know I'm gonna be on camera and I don't want to cringe looking back and think like, oh. And I think that's another thing for women, especially, you don't want the look to be distracting, like, and we judge each other, like that's just a normal human behavior. I think when you watch somebody on video, when you see them, and it's one thing for guys like Gary V, I think he can come off like scruffy, like 5 days no shower, and say something prolific and everyone's like, yeah, Gary V. But if a woman did that, your first thing is like, oh, like you need to go shower, or like you really need to put some makeup on. So I think you don't want to take away from your message by being distracting with your look. So you want them to mirror, like, right, because it is impressions, and your clients are going to feel your energy. And if you're presenting yourself as a hot mess, just like if you were in a model home, you don't want to look like a hot mess. You want to look your best. You want to look your professional self. So that means hair and makeup. I think that you should absolutely put extra effort into hair and makeup. And I think if you plan ahead, it's so much easier than to actually do your video. Because if I'm just going to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to shoot a video at some point during the day, or like, maybe tomorrow or the day after, whatever, and I don't actually plan for it, then by the end of the day, my hair's a mess, my makeup's smeared, I didn't put the best shirt on or whatever. So I'm less likely to actually do it, as opposed to, I'm going to put this video on my calendar today. I'm going to prepare for it in a sense that, maybe I'm going to whiten my teeth. Maybe I'm going to, put extra oomph in my hair, spend a little bit extra time on my makeup, make sure that I look my best, so that when it's time to sit down and say, okay, let's shoot this quick video, I do feel my best. And that's all about that, right? If you feel your best, you feel your most confident self, then you're most likely to actually be comfortable watching yourself on video and actually get it out. And I'm sure you can speak to that, but like, how do most people respond to when they see themselves on video, especially at first?
At first, people, if they're not used to it, they're definitely a little uncomfortable and they don't want to see it. They like, I don't want to see this. But some people do. Some people are more extroverted and they don't mind to themselves. And they want to be more on it a lot more. So depends. I'd say it's like a half and half split. Some people are a little more introverted. I feel like more salespeople are extroverted anyways, if not all of them. So I feel like a lot of them feel comfortable in front of camera in general.
Yeah. And if you're not feeling comfortable watching yourself, like it's completely normal. Like, think about hearing your own voice on voicemail and how cringeworthy that is. When I first started doing podcasts and I had to listen to my own voice, because you edit the podcasts. I mean, it was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. It's like Chinese torture, because literally,
you're just
hearing
yourself is definitely hard.
Yeah, you have to listen. Now I don't care. Now I'm so used to hearing my own voice from outside of myself, just because I, listening to editing podcasts. So I think it's the same thing with video. When you first look at yourself on video, you're like, oh my God, who's that person? Because you're not used to seeing yourself outside of yourself like that. But again, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. And then I think it also gives you an interesting perspective, because you can see really easily on video if there's something you'd want to change, right? Like if you're wearing that shirt and you're like, oh my God, that is the
shit doesn't look doesn't look good on me.
Burn!
Let me burn that shirt.
Burn that shirt. Or
it's not me, it's the shirt.
Yeah. Or even it's like your hairdo, or maybe you do your makeup a certain way for the ladies. The easiest way to get direct feedback is to watch yourself on camera and film yourself. And yeah, it's going to be super uncomfortable at first, but that is the best way to really get comfortable with it. And then as far as being comfortable on camera, so I think it's important to not be obviously awkward on camera, but I think you don't need to go for perfection, right? Especially if you're just shooting that one-on-one video and you're saying oh, hey, Mr. Customer, it was great talking to you on the phone. I wanted to send you a follow-up video just to put face to the name. And, here's the information that you requested, or whatever else. I think it doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think people connect more so with you when they see that you're a real human being. That's what people want, right?
Right. Real. Absolutely.
So it's always
you're missing any hair and stuff, so it made me think. Actually, during the quarantine, I shaved my head, and I was really
you did?
I like to have longer hair and put product in my hair, but I was like, well, if I'm not gonna go out and see people as much as I used to, people will understand that I shaved my head, and I can't go to a barbershop to get my hair cut.
Well,
so
it's grown out quite nicely. I was joking with my husband the other day, because both my boys, I like their hair really short typically, and they're starting to grow out, and I think both of them have taken scissors now to the front. And I say no, tell me next time you want to do that, I will at least YouTube it and see what you're supposed to do, because I think how to do it. I think we're creeping up into this territory now where everyone's going to have really bad haircuts. What do you think?
I agree. That's going to be accepted. I'm sure it's going to be.
It's going to be just oh my God. So yeah, my husband, I think, said he's going to grow out his hair, because I'm certainly not cutting his hair. My hair is luckily pretty easy. It's just straight shot. So I think he can cut my hair, But the boys, I'm definitely like, I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of really, really bad haircuts coming out shortly. So
Gonna have a quarantine. Everyone's hair is a mess. It's gonna be the new style, the quarantine
yeah.
hairstyle.
So I think that is permissible, during
Yes,
quarantine, anything goes, but obviously try to pull yourself together and make yourself look the best you can. Now,
absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about tricks as far as like position of the camera. Like if I'm using my cell phone to film, you know, do I
If
film
you're
with the
too
selfie
low,
mode or the other side? Like, do I position it
the
higher
higher for
or
sure.
lower at
The
the
way
level? Like, what are some of the recommendations?
if you have access to a tripod to put your phone on a tripod to do it, that'd be great. The stability, the movement, a lot of times that can make people sick if it's just moving. And my computer is sitting on the stand and we're not moving it. So you can do the same with a phone. You can put that on the stand. Position, a lot of times there's lights, but I like to be positioned towards a window right now. I'm actually looking towards the window. I think the light, natural light, has a nice diffused look to it.
Yes.
If you
So
have it
instead
low,
of,
yeah,
yeah, so you don't want to be in, you don't want to have the window to your back facing.
yeah,
You want to turn the other way around because then you're just going to get glare.
yes, you want to be able to make it easy for people to see you and it looks natural. And if
Yeah.
the camera is too low, especially, don't ever get the camera. I mean, you can get it low, but you're not going to look proportionally the way you'd want to look. So
Right.
having it either eye level or slightly above will help if you're filming yourself on a selfie video to look better. Now, there's also vertical versus landscape. It really depends on your platform. I prefer to be vertical if it's like an Instagram story,
Mm-hmm.
because people are holding their phone just like that. They're holding it straight and they're not having to tilt it and it'll be a mess up. So just keeping it vertical. Now, if you're putting a video where it's not like a story, maybe you're going a little bit further and you're editing it, I go with landscape, but most people, if they're doing it themselves, they're probably going to go vertical.
Yeah, I agree with you. So yeah, before you start shooting, you want to think about like what's the end product? Like, do
Mm-hmm.
I want this to be on social media or am I sending this off to a client? And that's going to determine which way you film. And then as far as like selfie mode versus the opposite. So I prefer to shoot with this camera right
It's a
here.
better camera in the back for sure.
Yeah. And then I think it's less distracting because one of the things I notice about when people shoot in the selfie mode like this, I think you tend to just look at yourself instead
Yourself,
of
it's like a
making eye
mirror,
contact.
right?
That drives me crazy because there's somebody on LinkedIn that I follow, and she's great at making videos. She like puts out a ton of videos, but that you can tell she's just looking at herself the whole time, and it's like, I don't know, it just drives me crazy because they say eyes are the what to your soul, the
The window to your,
the
yes,
window, yes.
yes,
The window
yes,
to your
yes,
soul. So if I'm not making eye contact,
right. You're
so
not
I think that's
open,
really
so it's,
important, right, to make eye contact, and the eye
oh, absolutely,
contact is to the camera, not staring at yourself.
right. And a lot of people, when they even see themselves, they get distracted. That you might even be able to see that they're distracted or thinking about, oh, my such and such could look different. Maybe my makeup or hair, something's off. So, yeah, I look at people. I try to look at people.
Yeah,
I talk
definitely.
to them.
And then like with DIY videos, how do we determine, I guess I want to talk about like, what are some of the good topics that we can do as far as like what I should send off to the client. So I think like anything that's complex to explain is always great on video, right? Instead of sending this long email or even a voicemail, like you can do a quick explanation video, send them off. If it's the first time you interacting with the client, like say they called you because they saw a listing, I think that's a great idea to do follow-up call with a video. And again, like I actually have a professional video done of myself, and it's just like a quick bio video that every client that I have an interaction with, I send them off that quick video. And in my text message, so I have it uploaded to my YouTube channel. And then all I do is I just include the link to it in my text message. And I'll say in the text message, like, hey, it was great chit chatting with you. Look forward to meeting with you on whatever date, blah, blah, blah. And here's, just to put a face to the name so you know who you're meeting with, quick video for you. And absolutely, it doesn't have to be a professionally done bio video. I think if you can do it, that way you're not reshooting it over and over again. If you just have one great bio video, but you can certainly shoot your own bio video just using your phone, do some minimal editing, so that it looks great, but you don't have to redo every single time. Like, think about how you can reuse the same videos over and over again, right?
I think that your bio video, that is such a great concept, because or a great process that you have, because it allows people to kind of meet you without having the pressure of like, oh, I'm meeting this person right now. It gets them understanding, like, okay, expectation of who I'm about to talk to, who I might meet with. It kind of breaks that ice a little bit and makes the next step easier. You're breaking down to steps. So it's like, oh yeah, I don't mind getting on a call with that person. I could kind of know a little bit who they are.
Absolutely. So I think the bottom line is, if you guys are not embracing video yet, if you're shying away from it, like, now is the best time to do it, yeah. Right? You have the best excuse.
It's accepted. It's exactly what people are doing right now. So definitely, and that's one thing I thought about this quarantine. It's like, society's gonna be like the places where conference calling or working remote is not common. Now people are going to be so accepting of like, oh, just give me a FaceTime tour, or if you have a listing, let's just do a FaceTime call, or instead of saving the time of having to drive somewhere and looking at products, and they can help narrow it down the house. So it's a very interesting time. It's much more accepted now.
I agree with you. I think that this whole quarantine thing is going to shift the way we do business for sure. That it's going to be much more of, oh, let's, we don't need to meet person to person to do this cost estimate. Let's just do virtual conference via Zoom. And, you can do the same thing via Zoom as you would face to face. You can share your screen and show them the cost estimate, everything else. And the best part is they still get to see your face, so they still make that personal connection. So without swapping the germs.
Exactly. Keeping it safe, and you save time. It's convenient for everyone home, so you feel comfortable, even more comfortable.
Yes. All right. So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you think is important for people to know when it comes to creating their videos, whether it's, build or produced video with the high budget, or a DIY video that a sales rep's going to produce?
I think a combination is definitely very important, especially for your branding and the higher end ones. But your salespeople or consultants or realtors, when they make a video, they make that personal connection with that individual. So I think that's very powerful. And it can help position them as a thought leader to the level they want to, as much content, and answering questions and being a person that's authentic. I think authenticity is probably one of the most important things. Just be yourself, be you, and be comfortable being you. And the rest will come. So and then one thing we talked about is feeling comfortable in front of the camera. So if you're not comfortable, maybe breaking it down to steps of, okay, now this week I'm just gonna do one video. I may not even post it. Let me just do a video. And then slowly, gradually build more videos to where you're like, you know what? I feel comfortable now. Now I feel comfortable with hearing my own voice. I feel comfortable seeing myself. Now let's go ahead and post it. So, or going live with it. So that's a good way to, if you're not comfortable, to making small steps to get to that level works for me.
Yeah, I love that. And, to be completely honest, like, when I started, I think I've embraced video really, like, a couple of years ago, and I started posting videos, like, looking back to even stuff that I posted a year ago or even 6 months ago. Like, I mean, I cringe, but I don't take it down, because it's like, you know what? It's fine. It's progress. So, but it's true, right? Like, you look back at the videos that you did back in the day, it's like, oh my God, like, really?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And, so you can certainly go back to our Facebook page and see some of the awful videos, earlier YouTubes that I did, which is fine. Again, I'm keeping them because, it's it's the reality. So, but the bottom
Right,
line
it's
is the
real,
more you do it, the better
authentic.
you'll get. So, and Vahid, is there, if people want to connect with you, whether they're in Oklahoma area and they want to use your services to produce
Mhm.
video and marketing materials, or, if they have any questions for DIY and whatever else, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah.
Where do you hang out?
So yeah, absolutely. So our website is freestyleokc.com. So through that you can reach me, you can reach someone from our company, see our work. So it's freestyleokc.com. And then my email address is a good way to get a hold of me directly. It's Vahid, Vahid, at freestyleokc.com. And I'm also on Facebook and I'm on all social medias. I just started a TikTok. So
You
I
did?
made one video. I did start a
What's the
TikTok.
video?
Okay. Let me feel comfortable first, and then I'll send it to you. Though I did a gosh, I'll send it to you. It's
Okay, okay.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
like I haven't
Quarantine
gotten
video.
into TikTok. I've been seeing a lot of TikTok videos, and like I think especially during this quarantine, people have really, gone all in on TikTok. Like, well,
Yeah.
my excuse is that like I'm the most uncoordinated person in the world when it comes to like. I think that's one thing is I would love if I could have like, they say like you'd have a superpower or like be something really good. Like I would love to be able to be like awesome dancer because like I'm like Elaine from Seinfeld. Like I'm terrible at dancing. So so I'm, when it comes to coordinated choreographed dances, like that is just not me at all. So so yeah, so I'm kind of jealous of the people who are
Who feel
coordinated like that
well,
and
I'm not. Yeah,
can
I'm
do
not
that. So
coordinated. I'm just trying to make myself. For me, the first video I did, I was like, oh, this is so uncomfortable to do a TikTok video. But I practiced a few times. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm fine with it. And also this video call, this Zoom call. So I've done a couple of podcasts before, but they've always been audio only. So this is my first one actually where I'm like, I'm seeing you. I'm also seeing myself. So I'm like trying to look at myself. I'm like, oh man, there I am. I don't want to look at myself. So uh, it's I'm comfortable now. I mean, at first it's like, okay, we're gonna be on camera. So
something new for
uh,
everyone. So
something new for everyone. And yeah,
isn't
again,
that
if you'll do, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like the shoemaker without
Yeah,
shoes, like the camera person that's used to being behind the camera, not necessarily in front of the camera.
right. Yeah, yes, exactly. That's another thing. I'm always used to being behind the camera, so being in front, just like you said, it's just a little different.
So we can all learn, we can all get better. So Vahid,
Yes,
thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. You guys, I'll be sure to link all of the show notes with Vahid's information
thank you.
on, as
Yes,
well as the link to the some of the equipment that we've talked about to help you get started with video. And Vahid, I hope to see you at one of the events in the near future, although I don't
same
know
here.
if International Builder Show is going to be
We'll see if it
happening
happens
or
next year. We'll
virtually
see.
or what's going to happen, but I guess we'll see what happens. So fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Yeah, same here. And thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. This has been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.